And let's give it up for the true Spartan, Joe Sena.
Awesome. Well, we put on 275 events this year in 40 countries. We have over 1 million Spartans out there, but never am I around real Spartans like in this audience here. So super proud, super thankful that all of you exist. Thanks for having me. My goal here today is to help you get rid of any potential insecurity you have in moving from what you currently do to owning your own business or going out into the civilian world. And so hopefully I could achieve that. I'm going to start by going way back. My mom finds health and wellness in Queens, New York in the early 70s. She introduces my sister and I to becoming a vegan, to yoga, to meditation, all these crazy things. But one thing she introduced us to was a race called the Transcendence Run. Anybody heard of this race in Queens? It's a 3,100-mile race around a 1-mile block in Queens. And I see this as a young kid. My sister sees it. And it becomes really apparent, oh my God, the human mind, the human body is capable of a lot more than we think we are, right? We can stretch ourselves well beyond our comfort zones. And so anyway, that percolates in my head throughout the years. I chase business. I end up building a construction company. I sell it. I go to Wall Street. I build a business. Chasing the American dream. And then ultimately, this comes back into my mind, all the stuff my mother taught us about health and wellness. And so I decide to build a race company 17 years ago. And for any of you out there that are going to start your own business, little war story is it took me 14 years to become profitable. So it's not easy. The typical Silicon Valley startup takes 8 years before it gets monetized and turns around. So that's not to dissuade you. That's not to say you shouldn't do it, but it is hard. And so for 14 years, after having successful companies, I battled in trying to make this thing work, but I was really, really passionate about it. So in doing that, in seeing the 3,100-mile run, in doing a bunch of races myself, I came up with some time-tested principles. They go way back, 2,500 years. The Spartans believed in these principles. And we could apply them to our lives, many of us do, to become successful. So I'm going to go through these principles. Hopefully you jot them down or think about them. You all have them, and you're just going to have to apply them when you go out and try to start a business or do something that you're not doing today. So I just got to see where we are here. How do I flip these? Oh, what? Other side. There's a computer. Oh, got it. Oh, it's not. Oh, there we go. All right, so first principle, know your true north. So if you know where you're going, like when you get in a car and you check out your GPS, if you weren't to load an address in there and you don't know where you're going, you're probably not going to get there. So it's extremely important that you know what you want to do. This can change throughout your life. Like for 10 or 15 years, you want to be in the military. 20 years after that, you want to start your own business. You want to have a family. It can change, but make sure you nail it during that period of time where you're trying to succeed at that particular goal, because if you don't know your true north and you're not going after something that you're passionate about, you're probably not going to get there. Now, how do you figure out what your true north is? It's really hard. A lot of people say, what would you do if today was your last day on earth? I like to say, what would you do if you knew you would fail? Because think about that. If you knew you would fail and you're going to do it anyway, you probably like it, right? And so think about that. It's not easy to figure out. It took me a long time to figure out what my true north is. My true north now, I want to change 100 million lives. I want to get 100 million people healthy. And so every day, as hard as business is and not making money for 14 years, I'm so driven by this mission that I wake up and get it done. So figure out your true north. First principle. How do we do this? Not working. I got to point it that way? There we go. Ooh. No. Maybe you could help me flip them, because I clearly can't figure out technology. No. Let's go to the next one. I swear there are other principles. You had it. Go to the next one. You had it? All right. So now you know your true north. Now you got to commit. So let's say you decided you're going to start a business, or you're going to start a family, you're gonna run 100 miles, you've got to commit. But I mean really commit. Commit like a pit bull hanging on to something, right? And it's easier to commit like that when you know your true north. When you know you want to change 100 million lives, or you want to become incredibly healthy, or you want to build this wonderful family, when you know that that's the thing you're on this earth for the next, foreseeable future, it's easy to commit like that. And when you commit, I know when people commit at Spartan, all of a sudden they start going to bed earlier, they start waking up earlier, they drink less, and so commitment is incredibly important. Now, what's interesting about this chart is look at the left axis, right? That's where you're going to be most excited. I'm going to get married. It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to run 100 miles. It's going to be great. I'm going to start this business. It's going to be fantastic. That's the most excited you'll ever be. It's all downhill from there. I'm sorry to say, but this is the reality of going after anything worthwhile. It's going to suck. It's fantastic when you make that original commitment. You flip to the next one? I got to see. I can't see now. What does that say? Somebody tell me. Maximize your time. Okay, so now you've committed. Now you can't waste any time. Has anybody ever heard the story, will it make the boat go faster? There's a great story. I believe it took place in the 80s. It was a UK rowing team. They wanted to go up against Australia, I believe, in the Olympics. They wanted to win this thing. There was no chance they were going to win. Coach says to the team, here's the deal. Next 18 months, every decision we make, every single decision we make, we are going to ask ourselves, will it make the boat go faster? If the answer is no, we're not going to do it. Hey guys, let's go out for pizza tonight. Will it make the boat go faster? No, we're not going out for pizza. Hey guys, let's go to the movies tonight. Will it make the boat go faster? No, we're not going to do it. So you've got limited time on the planet. You've set this goal, right? You've got this mission. This is what I'm going to do. This is my true north. You've committed to it. Why waste time doing anything that's not going to get you closer to that goal? Right? If you're hanging out on Friday night drinking and watching a soccer game, well, you're not getting closer to that goal. So, some people say, Joe, you're a robot. You get so focused, but I'm just trying to hit the target. And in order to hit the target, you got to spend a lot of time focused on that target. Next one. Just a point. Time is precious, right? It's our most coveted asset. Like you could have money, you could have incredible jewels, you could have all these things, but without time, you're fucked. You're dead. So time, but it's the thing we waste the most, right? We protect our money, but we waste time. And so I'm just reiterating that point. Don't waste time. Figure out what your goal is, commit to it, get after it. Next one. Read that to me, somebody. I'm losing. What is it? All right, you're going to love this. So how many people know the marshmallow test or the cookie test? So 1972, Professor Walter Mischel, Stanford University, takes a bunch of children, puts them in cubicles, gives each kid a marshmallow, asks the kids, you could eat the marshmallow now, or if you wait, I'll come back and give you 2. Most kids eat the marshmallow. Follows the kids for 30 years, studies the children. What he finds is the kids that didn't take the marshmallow, that waited for 2, had better SAT scores, better houses, better marriages, everything in their life was better because they could abstain from hitting the snooze button in the morning, right? They didn't roll over and go back to bed. They stayed completely focused. So my son, who's 12 now, is 6. I learn about the study, and I want to find out what kind of kid do I have? I'm screwed. I'm sending him back if he doesn't pass this test, right? So it's 10 o'clock at night. It's past his bedtime, so I'm already in trouble. I'm giving him ice cream, which I never give him. And I say, all right, you could have a scoop, or in a little while I'll give you 2 if you wait. And I check my timer on my phone, and it's 3.5 minutes in, and he turns to me and he says, Dad, how long do I have to wait to get 15 scoops? It's important, right? Because we're playing for 15 scoops. That's the point here. We're going for that true north, that commitment, that goal. We're running 100 miles. We're going to have the best marriage ever. And so to get 15 scoops, you've got to be able to abstain from the things in front of you, the cookies, the marshmallows. Hard to do, the Friday nights, right? Drinking the beer, eating the Doritos. You got to stay away from that stuff if you want to hit the target. Read it to me. I'm nervous up here, guys. What is it? All right, so disillusionment. So notice on the chart what's happening, right? You were extremely excited. Excitement was highest at commitment. So now you're about 60 miles into this 100-mile run, right? And you're completely disillusioned. It sucks. And what's playing in your tape, you've heard this statement of, the monkey brain, right? The little monkey in your head that's in your head. They say if you're in your head, you're behind enemy lines. And here's where it happens. My friends told me I wasn't going to be able to run 100 miles. It's bad for my knees. My legs are hurting. I'm dehydrated. This marriage isn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be great every day. This business sucks. I haven't made money in 14 years, right? There's no way we're going to beat the Australians in this rowing competition coming up in the Olympics. So you know the deal. Anything worthwhile is extremely hard. So disillusionment sets in, and most people quit. Well, how do you get through? You've got to stay positive. Right? You've got to stay positive through the tough times. And so I'm a believer, and I'm going to go through a couple more principles here, that we've got to manufacture some adversity in our lives, but I'll explain it. Go to the next one. So you stay enthusiastic, right? Entheos, Greek word, staying enthusiastic. So when we hire people, and again, we're in 40 countries now, I don't really care about domain expertise. I don't care if a person is great at a particular task. I care that the person is extremely enthusiastic, that the person gives you energy rather than sucks the energy from you. So when you leave your current position or you're moving up in your current, whatever you're doing in your life, you've got to smile through it, even if it means faking it. Again, you're 60 miles in, it sucks, your knees hurt, there's no way you're going to make it a remaining 40 miles. Smile through it. Got to smile through it. Got to, military does it all the time. Spartans did it, right? You turned it into a joke somehow. You remember the movie 300? The arrows are coming over. Embrace the suck. And he says, well, I guess we'll be fighting in the shade today, right? So somehow turn it into fun. Next slide. Read it to me, somebody. Naysayers. So as I was saying, naysayers pile on at this point, and most people quit. Most people quit here. And the people that don't quit, when I was building my first business in Queens, it was very hard to get employees that wanted to work at the way I work. I'm a maniac, if you haven't figured that out yet. And I work around the clock, and I couldn't find anybody that wanted to work at that level until I met Eastern Europeans. And the Eastern Europeans they outworked me. I couldn't keep up with these guys. And I scratched my head because they never asked for vacations. They never asked for more money. They just wanted more hours. And so I studied this for years. Why is this? Well, think about where they grew up. This was before the wall came down, right? They had really tough upbringings. And so if you come from that kind of a place where you've got that kind of frame of reference, and frame of reference is the glasses or the goggles we wear in life. Values, beliefs, experiences, those are glasses we wear. So their values, beliefs, experiences were tougher than mine. We have it easy in the first world. These guys, they were just thrilled that I would buy them lunch. They want to work all these hours. They'd get paid. This was fantastic. So I think the difference between success and failure, when excitement gets to that low point through this 100-mile run or the marriage or whatever it is that you're going after, your frame of reference will determine if you quit or succeed. And so what I like to do is change my frame of reference. Wake up in the morning, take a cold shower, do 300 burpees, go for a 10-mile run. Do the hard stuff. You guys do that every day, right? Because what it's going to do, it's going to change those goggles you wear so that when you hit the real tough times, God forbid somebody gets cancer, who knows what happens in your life, but shit's going to happen. You're going to be able to think back. Well, I say, like when I find out, we can't make payroll or we're having a tough day or somebody quit, at least I'm not taking a cold shower, right? At least I'm not doing 300 burpees. It's not so bad. We'll get through it. Next slide. I'm sorry I can't see so well. So this is awesome. So this is a slide where I try to explain this. So 200 years ago, we had an enormous amount of tolerance, right? And very low expectations. Like, I just want the sun to come up, right? You and I are living in a cave, right? We don't want to get eaten by a lion. That was our like, I just want to make it through today. You get on a plane today, there's no Wi-Fi. You've heard comedians say this, and we're upset. right? There's no hot coffee in the morning when you expect it. The kids are screaming. The car doesn't start. There's traffic. We're pissed off. Really high expectations, really low tolerance for pain. You got to flip that in your life. You got to get back to those human instincts where it was like you just were happy to survive. I'm just happy when the plane lands, right? It's a good day. Love that. Read it for me, somebody. Adversity. So that just more of the same. What I was saying is you're coming back up. You're starting to get excited. There's 20 miles left in this run, but it still sucks. You know, somebody said to me the first 100 miles I ran, somebody said to me the race won't start till mile 75, and I thought, how could that be? I've never run more than 30 miles. How could it be that the race won't start till well, at 75 the wheels fall off? There's no way you're going to make it the last 25 miles, and that's true of anything difficult we do. A woman giving birth, right? The last few minutes must be like unbelievable, and right? And so you got to get through that tough point, and that's embracing the adversity. Next slide. This is just to show you that within that little green circle there, that's where we live. That's our comfort zone. That's on the couch. That's 400 channels on our TV, popcorn, beer, right? I'm just suggesting get out of that green zone. You don't even have to go back to 100 years ago or 200 years ago, but get into the red. Get a little uncomfortable. It's raining outside. Go for a run. You're not going to drown, right? Do some tough stuff because it's going to make the rest of your days easy, and it's going to make starting a business or taking a new job. I had a business in Queens. I was telling you, I ran a construction company, and I was making great money. And a friend of mine convinced me to go to Wall Street. And I was making $250,000 a year back in 1990. I went to Wall Street to make $30,000 a year where I had a boss screaming at me on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. I got out of my comfort zone. I mean, it sucked. I remember going home one day crying, like, this is terrible. I was like a boss. I had people and trucks and machines. Now I'm getting screamed at and doing math I can't even figure out. But I got out of my comfort zone. And it ultimately made me stronger and better and got me here to be in your company. Flip that. Grit, is that the next one? Grit. So Angela Duckworth, University of Pennsylvania, she's the foremost expert on grit. You could pick up her book. She did a lot of work with West Point cadets, and she defines grit as the ability to stay motivated and excited through this whole experience. Like even when it looks like you're not going to come out of the other side. And that's a gritty person. I forget the name of the movie, a John Wayne movie from years ago, but it might have been called Grit. True Grit. There you go. So I'm not that smart, I told you. But you could read her book and you could learn what she means by this, but it's that ability, whether you're studying for a spelling bee or learning the piano or doing a 100-mile run through the desert, that ability to stay excited and focused on that goal even when things look terrible. Next. I know we're running out of time. Future memory. Let me explain this. It's so important that even though you wanted to quit at mile 60 and 70 and 80, whatever, success breeds success. I don't know the term for it, but you remember the old boxers, or even today, they'll give a couple of layup fights to the MMA fighter or the boxer or the wrestler before they go to the main event. Why do they do that? Because success breeds success. There's something in our brains that will release all the not all the endorphins, a piece of the endorphins that we get from the finish line from the previous success. So when we get on the starting line the next time, we get a little taste of the previous success, which helps us get through. So it's really important that even though you want to quit and you want to give up, that you get to the finish line at whatever endeavor you're taking on, because it'll help you build for the next one. Next, integrity. Integrity, everybody thinks about their own actions when they hear that word, but I heard a great analogy from a colonel just a month ago. Integrity is used when we talk about buildings, right, and structures, and structural integrity, and how is that structure and steel and those components going to hold up when they're being tested. And so what I just walked you through was basically a test. You get to meet yourself, find out who you are, and in the end, you gain a lot of integrity through that process. I know I did in building businesses and doing these crazy endurance challenges. It gave me a lot more integrity, because everybody can be easy when times are good. Like on the couch with the 400 channels and the popcorn, you'd be a good person. But it's hard to be a good person when when the wheels are falling off. So that's just a recap, and that's my story and my email. If anybody wants to reach out to me, I'd love to help. Selfishly, I want to help you guys because God forbid I get stuck somewhere around the world and trapped and kidnapped. I could probably call you and get some help. But my my email is joe@spartan.com. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Joe. One more time for Joe DeSena.